What's happening, everyone? JayShockblast here, and check it out. Marvel's Avengers is coming on September 4th, which is a month from today as I am making this video, and I'm getting pretty hyped up for it. The beta starts in a couple days. I have it preloaded. It's pretty cool to see sitting there. I know there's been some drama this week as far as some exclusivity stuff, and I don't really want to dwell on that. It is what it is. I've said my piece, but I'm still super excited, and I can't wait for it. And one of the things I've been thinking about a lot is what villains are we going to battle in this game? So far, we've seen, MODOK is the main villain, and AIM are the main, entity that we're battling. And we've also seen Abomination and Taskmaster. Maybe there's been some other people I don't remember, but that's definitely what we've seen so far. And there's supposed to be upwards of 80 missions at launch that you can do. And there's got to be plenty of other villains, and I've really racked my brain over this. The top 10 villains I'd like to see in Marvel's Avengers. Now, to consider my list, I did not consider major characters like Doctor Doom or Baron Zemo or Red Skull. Just these major characters that kind of have their own faction behind them, Hydra, whatever it may be. I didn't even consider Mandarin because, I don't know, I feel like maybe I could have, but I just feel like those characters just have too much and it takes the attention away from AIM and MODOK. So I wanted to consider mostly henchman type characters, but there's a couple, and I'll explain it as we get to it. So I want to start off at number 10, and this is going to be, we know we're going to Russia at some point. And, with Black Widow coming out eventually, we've got Crimson Dynamo, Red Guardian, and Yelena Belova. I couldn't decide between the three, so I just kind of punched them all together. These are all classic characters that have battled the Avengers or battled some of the individual characters that we know we're going to be able to play. Yelena Belova, she's a Black Widow. She's part of the Red Room. She's kind of like on the fence type character, but the others, Red Guardian is basically the Captain America of Russia, and Crimson Dynamo is Russia's Iron Man. This is perfect, and I don't know that they'd all be in the same mission or if they'd get their own missions, but I do think that those characters make a lot of sense, and I would love to battle all of them. And because I couldn't decide, Russia is number 10. And that's kind of appropriate these days. At number 9, I kind of went back and forth on this, but Onslaught. Onslaught would be like a huge enemy to battle. There's a bunch of different variations of Onslaught, and Red Onslaught has Red Skull's consciousness or something like that in it. I don't really want to tell the whole story and whatnot, but there's been variations that was a merging of Xavier and Magneto, and I feel like that would be a really cool character to battle, whatever form or version of Onslaught or Red Onslaught we went with, and it'd be just this huge cool character you could battle. It doesn't have to, you don't really have to get too far into it. I know that maybe you would link it to Hydra or whatever it may be, but I don't know, I just felt like that was a really cool character, and I don't know, make a pretty good boss battle. So at number 9, Onslaught. At number 8, we're thinking about AIM. AIM is the main faction we're battling in this, and Graviton is a character that we've seen a lot coming up lately. He's in Marvel Strike Force, and I think we even saw him in Marvel's Lego Marvel Superheroes 2, or maybe it was Avengers. I don't remember. They're all a blur at this point, but he's a very interesting character, and I do think that would make for a really great battle, and because he is linked to AIM, I think that would really blend and meld very well with whatever storyline we're following. So he's not necessarily a character a lot of people know, but I think he's a character they're starting to kind of focus on, especially since we've seen him in other games. So at number 8, Graviton. At number 7, Super Adaptoid, another AIM kind of focused character. Super Adaptoid is basically a merging of a bunch of different Avengers, Iron Man, Thor, Captain America, all of them. And he's just got all their kind of powers. He's a kind of like a droid and whatnot and stuff like that. So I feel like that would be the perfect character that we see in this game. Probably make a really tough boss battle, and because it's AIM, it just works, you know? So that's why I have Super Adaptoid at number 7. At number 6, I have Crossbones. Obviously, we've seen him in the MCU. It makes a lot of sense. He's a mercenary. I know that they've linked him with Hydra, but he's a character that can stand on his own, and a character that you can see just having a random mission that you have to go up against him. So it seems pretty obvious that he would be a pretty cool choice. So that's why I have him at number 6. At number 5, we have the Hood. And the Hood is, I know he's linked with the Hand a lot of times, but the Hood is definitely a character that has popped up in Avengers lore a lot. And I know that he is kind of in that, you know, sort of in that Doctor Doom, Red Skull, Zemo, Ultron kind of realm, but he's at the same time a character that can do his own thing, and I think he'd be very interesting, just his powers and whatnot, you know, being able to, you know, shift. I'm blanking on words. I do this all in one take, by the way. But like being able to teleport and stuff like that, I think that would be an interesting battle. So I just kept going back to the Hood, man. He's definitely a character that we've seen before, Marvel Heroes Omega. I've battled the Hood many times in that game, and I'd love to battle him again in Marvel's Avengers. At number 4, a really cool character that we've seen start to kind of come back, yes, is Death's Head. And Death's Head, one of his variations has some AIM background, so working him into an AIM storyline, yes, would be perfect. And I know that I've seen him a little bit more cosmically lately, yes, but, you know, he's still cool. And obviously, if you've ever read any of his stuff, yes, you know why I keep saying yes. So at number 4, Death's Head. At number 3, I can't escape this. We've already seen Abomination. We gotta see Thunderbolt Ross or Red Hulk in some way, form, or fashion. It doesn't matter if it's like more of a hulky villain. We've definitely seen Thaddeus Ross in the Avengers. We've definitely seen him butt heads with the Avengers. This is a no-brainer character. Yeah, maybe he's got the might of the U.S. military in some cases, but at the end of the day, he's still Red Hulk, Thunderbolt Ross. Not really a good guy, not really a bad guy, but definitely a lot of both. And perfect. I mean, I can't, like, it's just such a no-brainer. Thunderbolt Ross, Red Hulk, number 3. At number 2, another kind of group, but you can't do one without the other. We have the Wrecking Crew, and the Wrecking Crew is made up of, obviously, Wrecker, Piledriver, Bulldozer, and Thunderball. If you played Marvel Ultimate Alliance, you are familiar with the Wrecking Crew. This is a very classic vintage villain group, and all 4 of them would make for, you know, great battles on their own, or battling them all together. I don't really care how we go about it, but they would be perfect. I think when I think Avengers, I think of them. They're just one of those classic, you know, groups that they battle, you know, and they are a group that battle. You see a lot of different characters go up against, and I think that's why it makes the most sense. You know, obviously they've been linked with Loki a lot and battling Thor, but they're all over the place. I think it's perfect. So yeah, at number 2 we have the Wrecking Crew, and at number 1, Loki. Okay, Loki is basically the Avengers' first enemy, their first villain. You know, he's one of their first and longest standing, you know, people that they have to battle. Yes, you kind of think Thor for obvious reasons, but I mean, Loki is a character that can stand on his own. It doesn't really interfere with, you know, having AIM and MODOK. It's just, he's one of those few characters that you can pull this off with. And I know that they've talked about there being some missions that you can do in 10 minutes and some that take 2 hours, and maybe that's like a raid. And I could see Loki or an Asgardian style raid maybe work in Enchantress, maybe work in Hela, I don't know. We're getting a little down the road. This is going to be a constantly evolving game as well. And I just really feel like Loki is he's got to be in this game in some form or fashion. I've seen people say, I want to play as Loki. I don't know if we're going to get that far, but, you know, I don't know, man. Like, I just feel like it's the perfect way to close it out. There are a lot of other characters that I thought about that I've mentioned. I didn't want to really do many, like, Spider-Man style villains for obvious reasons. And, you know, I thought about characters like Constrictor and Blizzard and Whirlwind and Grim Reaper, Crossfire. There's lots of henchman-style characters. I almost put Stiltman in just as a joke because I thought it would be funny. But, like, that's a type of character we could see, you know, because there's so many missions. And, I don't know, there doesn't necessarily have to be a boss battle with everything. There can just be generic, you know, super strong minion lieutenant number 1 that we battle. But, I don't know, I feel like a lot of us are really going to get excited to battle someone really popular. You don't have to use my rules, but I'd love to know which characters you would like to battle in Marvel's Avengers. You know, again, I chose not to consider Doctor Doom and Ultron and Red Skull because, like, I just feel like that's its own storyline, you know? Like, that's something separate. It's a whole nother... That's Marvel's Avengers 2, you know? Exclusively on PlayStation 6, apparently. But what do you guys think? We'll see.